Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, your home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. In today's video, we're pleased to welcome Paul Travers, the CEO, President, and Director of Vuzix Corporation to the channel. This is one we've covered previously. A lot going on at the organization. We wanted to get an update in today's video. Before we get into it though, take a second, hit the like button guys. Big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join and let us know in the comment section below if you're currently holding shares of Vuzix and if you've heard of this company before. With that being said, let's get into today's interview. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, a very exciting one. We have Paul Travers. He's the CEO and president of Vuzix Corporation on the channel for his very first time. There's been some big developments in the AI or AR space as of recently, and we wanted to talk about that in today's video. So Paul, thank you so much for making the time.
Yeah, Bryce, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now we're going to get into some of these exciting developments around Quanta in a second here. But before we do, for people who maybe aren't familiar with your company or your story, can you give us an introduction on yourself and what it is that Vuzix Corporation is all about?
Yeah, by all means, Bryce. We're in an industry that has been around actually for quite some time. This whole vision, interesting choice of words, of putting on a pair of glasses and being able to interact with a digital space has been back in early NASA days. In fact, there were early television sets and smell-o-vision and all kinds of crazy stuff. And quite frankly, it's a really difficult space because you're dealing with every sense, practically speaking, of a human being, and you're putting them in a pair of glasses. So we make these glasses, they're cool. They got computers built into them. They have displays built into them. They have cameras that look out on the real world. They literally run Android. So they run all these software and applications. They're perfect to tie into things like AI applications and the like. And so we started though, making great big VR headsets. We realized at the beginnings of the game that if it was big and bulky, people wouldn't use it in real world applications. A VR headset, you play games at home, you put it on, you're in your living room, fine. But the products Vuzix makes are designed to be worn and used all day by everybody. So we have enterprise today. We have an OEM group that will be selling waveguides and optical systems into the broader markets. And how big is the broader markets? It's going to be everywhere, Bryce. This is the beginnings of people not using their phone anymore. This is going to be a fundamental shift in computers and the way computing and humans interact with each other. You think AI is cool? It is amazing, right? With some of the things that you can do. Imagine if you had an AI agent on your glasses helping you do everything. I'll give you one simple scenario. You get off a plane, you're in Beijing, let's say, the glasses, bling. Hey, Paul, you're in Beijing. Would you like me to get an Uber out front? Uber may be the wrong choice of words for eBay, for Beijing, sorry. But the whole idea is you're not taking your phone out anymore. You're not opening the Uber app. It's not application based. These are AI systems that are designed to make your life better. And with it, you'll never take your phone out of your pocket again. From directions, from getting to point A to point B, right on through to whatever you're doing throughout your workday.
Your story is very interesting because you guys serve large industry. And if you look at some of your slides or website here, you can talk about healthcare applications or mining or defense. There's so many real world, huge sectors that could benefit from this. So can you just share a little bit about some of those more unique industries and maybe where your glasses could be used there?
In healthcare today, they're used for remote surgeries. They're used for knee surgeries. Literally, the doctor has the glasses on. He's looking at the person's knee. The glasses are measuring where the knee is in space from one joint to the other. Before they put the pins in, the glasses say it's aligned correctly. Go ahead and put the pins in. In remote surgeries, you're doing an operation you've not done before. You need help. You get support by a phone call. The phone call comes in. It's like a Zoom call to your glasses. The camera comes on. The remote doctor, who's an expert in open heart surgery, can help you do those surgeries on the fly as if he was actually standing in the operating theater in Johannesburg when he's actually over in California someplace. So there's the medical industry. There's not a day that goes by where our glasses aren't being used in some operating theater. In the warehouse space, this is a new one for us. It's one that we've been trying to make happen for the longest of times, but the software and the hardware haven't quite been there yet. They are now. Vuzix owns a company called Movient. It's designed to run on SAP's warehousing and logistics software, ties our glasses in. So you're literally sorting, picking, packing, using the glasses with vision picking, as opposed to using an audio-based system uh, that, quite frankly, is incredibly cumbersome. The glasses, excuse me, the headset's trying to talk you through the pick. You think, oh, can you say that again? How many out of location 7? With the glasses on, literally, there's a highlight on box 7. It has 5 units that you're supposed to pick out of it. So the vision picking is much, much faster. And we have some new products that we'll be announcing before the end of this summer that are pointed right at that marketplace. Lightweight, all day wearable in a warehouse, and single battery use. So you charge it at the beginning of the day, 12 hours later, the things are still running.
With that being said, we've set the table here. We have a general understanding of what your company is about, what you guys are doing, your history. Now we wanted to start talking about some of the more recent developments. So last September, you announced a $20 million strategic investment from Quanta Computer. So many of the viewers may be familiar with that company's name, one of the largest ODMs in the world. Now, can you talk about the significance of that to your organization and how that maybe change the trajectory in this AR market?
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming obvious that display in glasses are going to be a big business opportunity, especially in the broader markets. The problem is making glasses that look good, that people will wear, and that are light enough for people to want to wear them. And first of all, you need prescriptions in order to even do that. 65+% of the population needs prescriptions. Quanta is trying to solve this problem. They manufacture for companies like Apple, for the Lenovo's of the world, for the NVIDIA's of the world. They do super high volume, and they're usually their brand and nobody knows. They're trying to solve this problem. And they came to Vuzix because, one, we can make the waveguides, the way a waveguide works and the optical systems work in a pair of smart glasses. I'll try to give you the simple version. You take a little tiny display that's maybe the size of a pencil eraser that projects an image. So if I were to take this little display and point it at the wall, it would literally put an image up on the wall. You take that image and you put it in a corner or in the temple of a pair of glasses, and then the lens that you normally would look through becomes a waveguide. You put a waveguide as opposed to the lens, and what happens is you project into these little tiny grating structures that are on the surface of that waveguide lens. That light goes out towards your eye. When it gets in front of your eye, it ejects through a pupil, another set of waveguide gratings into your eye, and boom, there's an image. Instead of up on the wall, projected out in space in front of you. This is like the heads-up display on a fighter pilot's cockpit. Now, making these waveguides is not easy. They're very, very expensive to manufacture. We have competitors that use technology out of the semiconductor industry, and run rates are abysmal. You need, if you're going to make $1 million a year, every 6 seconds or so on a single shift, you have to make a waveguide. Our competitors literally have great big 300 millimeter glass, the circles like in the semiconductor industry, and they can only make 12 waveguides per run, per platter. So it's slow. They're super expensive, hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars based upon the materials and substrates. Vuzix right now, our plant floor in Rochester, New York, can manufacture a waveguide every 6 seconds, very inexpensively. And so Quanta is looking for solving that part of the problem to get into the broader markets. They came to us. They invested an initial $10 million. It was a 3-tranche investment from them. The first tranche was to get us set up so that we could produce a specific waveguide for them that they were looking for. So we went through all the process. We got our plant floor online. The second 2 tranches are all about hitting volume gates of which we've hit all of the gates that they need. So it's formal that they've put in another 5 million. So we're at 15, and within the next quarter plus, there'll be another 5 million coming in as part of the third tranche. What does that say for Vuzix? We can produce in volume. We can produce high quality. There were quality gates, and there were volume gates, and there are pricing gates. And we can do all of what they need for their high volume manufacturing requirements for fulfilling the broader market space, which, like I was saying earlier, Bryce, it's going to be literally a replacement for the phone. So it's a cool industry when you're in the watch industry, let's say, and you're shipping 300 million smartwatches a year. That'll be the first gate you'll see smart glasses go through. And then it'll be on it as an accessory to the phone. And then it'll be on its way to literally replacing your phone. And this investment shows, number one, that Vuzix has the capability and capacity to deliver. It's coming from a company that's a tier 1 player in the space. They've done a lot of homework. They invested in us as part of that because they know Vuzix has the ability to do this. We have multiple projects that we're working on now with Quanta, and it's all related to products that ultimately will be in high volume mass production coming up.
Yeah, I wanted to dig in there a little bit. You said you received your second tranche or round of investment, another 5 million from Quanta based on some of those milestone unlock goals. Can you talk a little bit about what those goals are? Is that actually producing the waveguide itself? Is it based on volume? What are kind of these metrics that you've been able to successfully hit repeatedly here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of nailed it there, Bryce. It was exactly based on that. It was a specific waveguide design. They wanted to see us get above 70% yield first, and then 80% yield as a second set of gates. We're running north of 90% right out of the gates with them, the very first runs that we've done with them. There's a performance requirements for contrast, haze in the waveguide, brightness, efficiency in the waveguide, et cetera. And we hit every single one of those gates now also. There's one component that you could argue that we need, but we don't really need it right now. We're running at the run rates with second shifts that they need. So they've agreed. We have hit all of the gates that they needed for both targets. Actually, we're running north of 90% yields today. Price points are right where they need to be. In fact, we have some great margin that we're making in the production process on top of the fact that we can run as many as we can. Like I said, every 6 seconds, we can produce a waveguide today off of our plant floor here in Rochester, New York. And then all the other targets that were associated with quality data points and the like. So we've proven to them that we can build into the high volumes that they require and to the performance levels that they need. We hit both sets of gates effectively.
Yeah, I was going to say that's very nice to see in terms of building that track record and trust with Quanta. Now, you talk about this partnership or this backing from Quanta, enabling you guys to make essentially the world's most affordable, lightweight, performance-driven AI smart glasses for that mass production or mass market. So can you talk to us about how this partnership, this strategy maybe differs from some of the competitors I just referenced, like Meta or Apple, that are trying to get into this space?
Well, Meta and Apple are the lone guns, right? They're what's cool about Meta and Apple is they have these operating systems and software that will drive a lot of this business. But in the end, third-party companies will be able to work with and run on the platforms and the software that these companies are coming out with. Google with Android XR is a prime example. And those software, those applications bundled with AI that's coming is what's going to drive the whole industry. You will see a lot of companies, the brands that you know, fashion brands, et cetera, that will be making these glasses. And our strategy is to supply to all of those companies. Meta could be a customer of Vuzix, in point of fact, if you think about it. Google could be. Google's third-party partners that are supplying smart glasses as part of the XR ecosystem, all of those are potential customers. And as it happens, Quanta, as an ODM supplier, currently sells and manufactures for practically every single one of these companies. So it's a great entry point for the broad markets working with a firm like Quanta. They have some competitors also, as you might imagine, Quanta does, and those competitors are also knocking on Vuzix's doors today. So our mission is to enable the world with waveguides in the broad market space. In the enterprise space, we have solutions that we're building that literally it should be $1 billion a year revenue kind of run rate company before it's all said and done. But we stand alone for other reasons in the enterprise space. We have, of course, we've got the technology and the waveguides and I believe some of the best performing glasses for the enterprise space out there. You imagine wearing a HoloLens for an 8-hour shift in a warehouse. If you're familiar with HoloLens, it's this big, bulky, heavy thing that an hour and a half later is out of batteries. So you just can't do it. Whereas our products, they'll literally run for a full shift, 8 hours, 12-hour days, no problem. So on enterprise, we have the software and we have the hardware. We have solutions that are able to sell into that space in its own right with the carrying a Vuzix brand. On the broad market, we're not going to be an Apple. We don't ascribe to be an Apple. We're not going to compete with a Google. We're going to partner with them and help build the ecosystem to sell into the marketplace as it builds.
Yeah, you can see a lot of synergies between the two, and we're going to talk about that IP portfolio or patent portfolio in a second here. But before we do, I wanted to touch on the AI theme a little bit. This is obviously the buzzword of the year in every sector right now. It appears you guys are actually quite far down the AI trail here. So you've obviously co-developed some augmented reality, some AI-enabled glasses as well. Can you talk to us a little bit more about why you think the pairing of these technologies is so critical and maybe some of these future applications?
If you think about it, one of the biggest concerns a lot of folks have with AI is that it's going to be replacing jobs. Before you know it, this job's not going to exist anymore. That one's not going to exist anymore. As much as you can say that, there are a ton of jobs that need humans in the mix. I mean, ultimately, some people say robots are going to take over the world. It's going to be a while. And just a simple example of that, look at the car industry for a minute. 90+% of a car is built by a human's hands. It is not robot driven. I know they show robots on the outside of cars painting them and welding them. Sure, those bigger, bulkier jobs, that's a robot. But if you go to some of the largest car companies on the planet and ask them what percentage of their manufacturing is done by a human, they will tell you it's far north of 90%. The problem is today they're expecting that human being to do more and more and more. And how do they do that if they don't have the training, if they don't have the instant access to the information that they need? So augmenting humanity is going to be a big deal for these glasses. And that's where we see AI changing the complete infrastructure around why smart glasses are going to be so important. It's going to become the computer human interface. And that interface to the real world. I mean, AI doesn't have eyes unless you give it cameras. AI can't solve problems unless it has a feel for what the problems are in front of you. Humans need all of that, and they need that kind of support, and glasses is the interface to make that happen. So bringing AI together, which is so game-changing in the world, the best way to provide that to a human is not using a keyboard and typing on it in front of your laptop. It's literally putting it on their head and allowing the AI engine to become an agent, to become a partner with the employee or the person that's wearing the glasses. So much is going to happen, Bryce, that you can't even imagine. You think about cool applications like, oh, I took a picture with my glasses. That is nothing. When AI is running on the glasses, its ability to help and guide and grow humanity will be through the roof. And it will be more to humanity in that sense. And people who actually work with their hands and have to get complex jobs done where people are retiring and there's less and less people. I mean, think about Japan, the population of people that are available to work on the plant floor is going down, let alone the training people to help the new people that are coming on board to train, because there aren't that many. So you have to be able to augment humanity, and these glasses are going to drive that. And I believe enterprise will be one of the biggest benefactors for it, at least up at first.
That's great. Yeah, it definitely opens up a lot of doors, and I would imagine a lot of people are interested in that technology. Now, the final question for you, speaking of revenue and the potential opportunity or total addressable market, you threw out some optimistic revenue numbers earlier in the discussion here. Can you talk about the extent of where you think this opportunity can take you?
You know, Bryce, this is one of the more challenging components of the space that we're in. It's frustrating for investors to look in and say, why is it taking so long? It's so obvious that this business should be happening. What's taking the time? What's taking the time? And it's been a pile of things that are finally reaching this crescendo of we've got it in hand. Look at Meta with the Ray-Bans, right? They're selling significantly faster than the non-smart version. And that's part of the reason why now they've got the next generation of them, the Oakleys, which I'm sure is going to sell very well. At the same time, it's using AI, but there's no displays in them yet. When that happens and there's displays in the glasses, it's the beginnings of the whole world embracing this. And so when you think about revenues for a minute, how much does a waveguide cost? Our competitors are 200-300 bucks a waveguide. In some cases, as much as 1,000 or two to make a waveguide. Vuzix can be highly profitable selling waveguides at 40 bucks a piece. How many waveguides would we sell? Well, if we only got 10% of the market, and the market is 1 billion pairs of smart glasses a year, times two, because you need two waveguides, one per eye, per pair. I mean, the numbers are staggering. It's so big. But you got to get there. And that's part of the frustrating part for some of our shareholders today is that race, but that race is finally right around the corner. And you can see it with so many companies on the West Coast and the whole world aligning around smart glasses. There's a reason why Ray-Bans, Oakleys, basically the Luxottica line is not shipping with glasses with displays in them yet, because the technology is just around the corner from being sexy enough, but it isn't quite there yet. It's the stuff that Vuzix is doing that's going to help enable that next step to where you can make fashion forward glasses, where people can go in and pick between 50 different pairs of glasses, because that's how this is going to work. It's not like buying a phone where they all look identical today. Your people wear glasses, they take hours to pick out their next frames, and this is going to be the same thing, but it's going to require that fashion forward look and feel. And to get there, you need the technology that Vuzix is building. And it's all finally, think about it, we've only been in this capacity run rate for the last maybe year, and there's no other company that can produce in volume today. So the technology is finally there for waveguides. The revenue is going to be significant and is going to completely upend the computer industry. So it's brand new, even though it's 28 years old out.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to ask as our closing thoughts here, any upcoming catalysts to watch for, or anything to be excited about on the horizon, but it sounds like based on our conversation, there's quite a number of those upcoming catalysts. We look forward to having you back on the program, Paul, but I wanted to hand you the mic back and give you the opportunity to close out here as well.
Yeah, Bryce, I think on catalysts, it's going to be some exciting press releases coming up. There's so many things that are happening. Quanta is one data point with all many irons in the fire with them. We have a defense side of our business. I'm sure you're watching drones in the Ukraine. Drones are becoming a critical component of the military machine today. How do you fly a drone? You have a soldier who's got glasses on, who's viewing what the drone sees. And there's that component of our business in the defense space. We should have some really exciting announcements coming up in the fall of this year, not sooner. We have multiple new products that we're going to be announcing here this year, of brand new stuff for the enterprise warehousing and picking application area. These are glasses designed just for that job. So yes, look forward to a whole lot of cool business opportunities and announcements. And I believe you'll start to see our revenues climbing here through the latter half of this year, and 2026 should be a phenomenal year for Vuzix.
That's great. Yeah, we look forward to following along the story. You know where to find us, Paul. If you ever want to come back on the platform, you're welcome to. A great discussion today. Congratulations on all of these developments and obviously the launch of this real new sector or industry. You guys, if you have any additional questions for the team at Vuzix that we didn't get to today, leave them in the comment section below. Hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. We'll see you back here tomorrow.